Hello again, everyone. This is Dr. Russo, your instructor for Intro to Anatomy and Physiology. And what I want to do now is just take you through a quick tour of the e-classroom in Sakai. And when you open or enter the classroom, I should say, the first place you come to is the home page here. And in it, there's three major parts to the home page. You have a column on the left with tabs where you can enter other areas of the classroom. A section in the middle here where there's some important information about the class posted, in particular a overview of the objectives of the course, and also a link to tech support, which you may need to use if you're having any difficulty uploading, downloading, or opening any pages or having any technical issues with Sakai in general. And then over here you have any new messages or new posts in the forums that apply when you enter the classroom, so you can see those right away. New announcements as well, so if you see a new announcement that I put up, usually I'll just have a new announcement each week. I don't put up too many announcements during the week, but if you see one that I put up, for instance, during the week, it'll post right here so you can see it right away. And then below that, a calendar. And actually there's a little bit more detailed calendar that you can use as well in the classroom. So that's the home page. The next tab down are announcements, and you can see here there's two already that I have up. And the week 1 general announcement that you should read through carefully, and then a short video introduction that I posted of myself, just talking a little bit about the class as well. So you can go in and see these as well. For instance, the introduction, I can open that up, and there's a link here that I embedded the YouTube from the webcam, and you can see my intro here. You can also do this for any of your posts in the forums in particular, and I'll show you how to do it a little bit later on. And it makes for a nice, little bit better, more friendly environment in the class, I think. People can see and hear each other speak more like a real classroom instead of just online courses. So that's the announcements. Calendar. Again, there's a more detailed calendar that you can use, and I can put events in here as well. So you can open this up and you can see whether anything's due, or there's an exam that day, or what have you. Generally, I don't use this too much because we're on a pretty regular schedule where everything happens at the same time. So you can use this if you have trouble knowing what day you're on. You can kind of reflect back to this calendar here, just to check it out and use it for your own use. So that's the calendar, and you can see you go week by month by year and so on. Okay. The next tab below that are the messages. And for messages, this is pretty much like any other email client. The important thing about this messages section is that it's used for all in-class correspondence. Okay, anything for course-related material or any course-related issues or questions or what have you must be through messages. Okay, don't email me through my campus or other private email. It's university policy that all in-course correspondence related to that course occur through messages. This way we have a complete record of it. If any issues arise later on and we need to go back and look at the classroom and the student and instructors, professors interaction. So make sure all the messages come through here throughout the class. And the next part is the forums. You can see here is the, I can go to this tab up here, and that'll take me to the list of all the forums, from the open forum down through each week. And they're all open up. You can go in and read any of them now, but for now we're working on the week 1 forum down here where you introduce yourself. You write your introduction, and I mentioned a little bit about that in my first intro video. And then up here before that you have an open forum where there's 2 sections, 2 topics, question answer, and then just an open forum where you can discuss pretty much anything. And if you open up the full description, it tells you in a little bit more detail about what you can write in these open forums. And so make sure you go in and you read the description before you actually go in and post. Okay. And then after that are all the weekly forums that we have. And it's the same thing. You can open up, read the description of what to do, and then you can open up the forum. And then to start a new conversation, you just use this tab up here, and then you can start a new post. Okay, so anytime, each week you'll be doing this. Okay, so there's the forums. Next section down is the syllabus, and the actual syllabus is at the bottom here. You can download that as a Word file and then save it to your computer. And so you make sure you read this very carefully. Again, like I said in my opening message, before you start any work in the course. And up here is a link to my homepage at the university. It comes up, there it is. And you can read a little bit more about me here. And also I'll say a little bit more about myself after the week 1 intro forum posts. We're all in a little bit later this week. So that's the syllabus. Now this next part, lessons, is we're actually getting into the course content. And this is where some of the confusion sometimes arises for people in the first week of course. And in particular, the resources and the text materials. But before that, you just have a course overview that you can go in and read. Talks a little bit about the course. Just some tips on how to be successful in the course, how to get started, how to interact with other students, some guidelines there, just about some net etiquette, and so on. And then the first part here of the organization, actually the actual content from each of the weekly topics begin. And for week 1, it's organization, basic chemistry of the human body. And there's a lesson overview, and then there's reading and resources. This is the text. You can actually go right in and takes you right to that chapter in the text that we're working on that week. And then also below that is a link to the lab manual for the laboratory portion of the course. And what this does is it takes you right to the first exercise. But before I open this up, you have to get into the lab. To use the lab, you have to create an account with Pearson. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. So there's the reading and resources. Again, we can go back to the original list here. The actual lesson, there's just a brief lesson here from the text, where it talks a little bit about what the lesson is for that week, just the highlights of that week. And then the lab portion is the next part. And for this, like I said, you need to have an account with Pearson to get into the materials. And this first link right here says pearson.com. That'll take you to this page. And for here, the first thing you need to do is, if you go to lab simulations, don't try to open the ebook yet. Go to lab simulations. And there's a page here where you can, if you already have an account, you can log in. But if you're new to the course, and most of you are, you need to register. So you can register, and when you register, I won't go through all the processes, but you create a username and password, like over here. And then you can use that password, that username and password to access the actual course materials. So be sure you register with Pearson before you try to get in, because oftentimes students will, they'll write to me and say, oh, I can't get in the course because it just won't let me in. So make sure you do this first before you try to enter the lab. Okay? So once you do that, then you can get in and into the actual lab simulations, and they take you through and run the lab. And then the ebook is more detailed instructions on the lab as well. I believe there's a lot of overlap between the steps in the lab simulations and what's written in the ebook or the lab manual. Okay, so that's the lab. That's how to use the materials. And go back to the lessons list. And then there's the form for the week. Just tells you actually go into the forum to find out the details about that. And then the assignments for the week. And it tells you just go to assignments or the tests and quizzes, and I'll open those in a second and show them to you. Okay, so that's the lessons tab, where you can access all the course materials. The next part is the assignments. And the only one that's up for now is the Academic Honor Pledge. And so you can view details here, and you just follow the instructions that you read the Honor Pledge, and then you just submit it. And this just sends a message to my inbox or my course, my page as an instructor, that notifies me that you did this task. There's no grade for this assignment, whereas the other assignments for the course do have grades. And I think the only other one is the paper you need to write, and there's also an extra credit assignment as well. a little bit later in the course. So those are the assignments. And again, you can go back to the list here. And then when I post a new assignment, you'll see it in this list. Okay. Tests and quizzes. So far, just the introductory quiz and the week 1 quiz are available. Each week, week 2, 3, 4, and so on, they'll be available as well. And then to start the quiz, for example, if you want to do your introductory quiz, there's no time limit on this one. You just begin the assessment, and you're good to go, okay, for the introductory quiz. And if you want to save it, you can go to save. And that saves your question. So you put your question in. So course sessions for following reasons, vacation, none of these are military deployment. It's probably the one that's correct here. None of these are good or excuses for getting a course extension. And then you save it. And then you can go to the next one. So that's the introductory quiz. And then you got your week 1 quiz here. And then actually, to begin the assessment, you need to push begin assessment. And then that starts the timer. And that first one, that other quiz doesn't have a timing interval on, so you can just save it and go back any time to it and finish it up. But these ones that are timed, once you begin that assessment, that's it. You gotta finish that assessment before the time's up. And there's no way you can stop it, go have dinner or what have you, come back a couple hours later and finish your assessment. You have to take that assessment during that 1 hour. So be sure you have an hour's time that you can commit without any distractions to take that quiz. Okay, so you begin the assessment, and then I'll take you through the quiz. Okay. The next part here is your grade book. And this is my grade book. I haven't done anything for the course. This is my page. I can see the course as a student if I go to this page for myself. And this is what your grade book looks like. And what it does, it keeps a running tab of how you're doing during the class. The weight of each assignment and your score and your current percent. And usually at the end of each week, if you haven't done anything, I'll just give you a 0. And if you see zeros and you haven't done an assignment yet or submitted a quiz, it doesn't necessarily mean that's your score until you actually finish that assignment. I just have to do that at the end of each week. It's just assign a 0 to anything that hasn't been completed, that I haven't graded. So that's the grade book. And then there's the roster of the course. So if you want to contact anybody in the course, anybody in this particular class, also through their private My Campus email, you can do that through here as well. And then the rest of the information here is just some general campus information. One in particular is the library. And this opens up to a page, the AP US Library. There's a lot of good resources in here that I encourage you to use and explore in the library, especially when you get later on in the course and you need to work on your papers for the course. You can get a lot of good information from the library in the class, as well as just getting online on the internet. But the good thing about the library is all the information in the library has sort of already been pre-filtered. Whereas when you go online, do Bing or Google search for information, you kind of have to be careful about your source of your information. So that's the library, and then just general things about. There's the classroom support tab here as well. I had in that first home announcement, in case you're having any trouble with the course. Okay, so that's just an overview of the course. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message, and I'll provide you with a quick answer. Okay, everybody have a great first week, and let's get started.